What are the kind of strategic advice that you'd give founders that are running a side hustle, trying to build a community? Like, what should they think about when they approach that facet of building a community?
I think, when you're building a community, you should be thinking strategically about firstly going where your community is. Right? Lots of people think about, I'm going to build this on my favorite platform, but if your community isn't using that platform, then it's going to be like a barren desert. There's little hay bales like blowing in the wind. I would consider the monetization of the community whilst you're building that community. You don't have to sell anything yet, but just think about how you might and what they might buy, and have those passive conversations with the community as you're building it. Because otherwise what you might end up doing is, as you've seen and I've seen many times with other businesses, building a massive community, potentially venture backing that up to a point where you've got hundreds of thousands, if not millions of users, and still not having thought deeply enough about just how you're going to make money from this. It's really important to have an aligned tone of voice across your whole company. Whether it's just one person, you should probably think about what it will look like if you build a team of 15 people managing that community. And there's a bunch of things you should think about in that mix. But one of the ways that I always ground people in getting the right tone of voice first time is having them think about what their celebrity tone of voice might be. The way that the Queen might speak is very different to the way someone like, Russell Brand might speak. And so when I picture that, the reason you smile is because you can picture each of those and how they talk, because they're both well-known characters. So if you can get that agreement amongst everybody in your team, if not just yourself, you can at least picture that when you're then talking to your community on an ongoing basis, because that you'll never really waver from that kind of tone of voice. A lot of brands try to build community with a disingenuous tone of voice, I think. Like, either they're a massive corporate that is now trying to feel like one of the people, quote unquote. That just doesn't feel right. If you are building something that's a bit more nimble and is trying to speak to the people, then have that come through more in your tone of voice of the brand that you're building. We've seen that time and time again from companies that do it really well online, right? Like, I think Tesco have great social media accounts, but they have more of a personal tone of voice than they do as a brand. That's one example where the juxtaposition actually works. Building a community around your business that currently exists, very likely it's going to be part of the customer experience, the support experience, maybe even the team experience you've got in your workplace, perhaps. Like, I've seen people build communities around the developers and their big tech companies. And what you have to do is find the common denominators of what those people are passionate about, the direction you want to point them in, and what the outputs might be. Because you can build a little community where they all might chat, but unless there's a direction for that chat, then they might not use it. And so what you want is you want a purpose, and you want a common denominator that brings them all together. It might be what they're passionate about, it might be what they do, but the end goal for it is to make them more excited about everything else in your business as a byproduct of that community existing in the first place. It's a great way to manage retention for staff, retention for customers, upselling products and services, but only if it's done with that thinking in mind, because otherwise it can be a massive drain on resource and time if you don't get it right the first time.